Okay, for today, I would like to go through for the first part of our for the first part of our class. We go through another exam question about 1 hour. We're going to look at November 2014 question, November 2014, which is on AIG Berhad. AIG Berhad. AIG Berhad. This is the question on published account, which is we have gone through so far few items on a few questions on published account. So today we're going to look at another question on published account. Now, as explained previously, when you have your final exam on published account, normally they will give you the trial balance, okay, for the first part of it, the trial balance, and the second part of it there will be additional information. Number one, normally additional information with regard to closing stock, okay, and there will be a few additional information like 7 to 8 additional information that you need to do some adjustment before you do the question. And then the question normally would ask you to prepare statement of normally 3 statements. Okay, normally there are 3 statements that you have to prepare: statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, and statement of financial position. So, as mentioned earlier in the previous classes where we look at the final exam questions, the first part of answering is for you to prepare a sort of skeleton, a skeleton of the statement that they require you to prepare. For example, you have to prepare the income statement. You need to prepare the income statement. Okay, this is the question. First, you need to prepare the income statement. Okay, income statement here, and then you need to prepare statement of changes in equity. Statement of changes in equity. Okay, this statement of changes in equity, just the skeleton. That means you put in all the format, items and format one by one. Put it in. Okay. For example, here income statement you have sales, cost of sales, gross profit, administrative expense, distribution expense, operating profit, finance expense, net profit, income tax expense, and profit after tax. And then you get total amount of comprehensive income. For statement of changes in equity, the same thing you have to do. Prepare the skeleton of it. Okay. Put in all the share and the reserve that you have here. The reserve here, depending on your trial balance, you have to look back at your trial balance here. What kind of item that you have? You have to look back in your trial balance for the item that to be included in your skeleton. Okay, the same thing with statement of financial position, where you have to prepare the skeleton. Just prepare the skeleton of statement of financial position. Okay, statement of financial position. Non-current asset, plant and property, current asset. Okay, finance buys, the reserve, and the current liabilities, and this one is a working. Never mind. Just you do the statement of financial position. Put in all the the item that is available in your trial balance. You have to look back at the trial balance. What is the item available to put in the financial statements? So once you have done that, preparing all the statements, the skeleton of it, then you have to go through one by one. Number one is stock, additional information. You have to go through additional information one by one. Now, number one, additional information with regard to the closing stock. So here we have closing stock of at 31st May 2013 was valued at 37,100. So the double entry for closing stock is debit closing stock. Okay. Normally closing stock debit 37,100, and credit cost of sales. Cost of sales 37,100. So closing stock debit, that will be in your financial position. Financial position. So in your financial position, you will have this amount put in inventories or closing stock in your current asset. Okay, in your current asset. So debit closing stock or inventories, put it inside the statement of financial position, and for credit, it goes into cost of sales. Okay, cost of sales. It's better if you prepare cost of sales in the form of table. You categorize categorize all the expense in the form of table. Okay, in the form of table. First you have cost of sales. Okay, cost of sales, admin, selling, and finance. Admin, selling, and finance. So closing stock will be under cost of sales. You put closing stock here. Okay, closing stock. $37,100. Okay. So that's it. That is the adjustment for closing stock. Finish doing it. The next thing is delivery expenses and depreciation on motor vehicle. Okay, both of that is categorized as distribution costs, or selling and distribution costs. So you have to look back in your delivery expense. Delivery expensing. You have to look back at your trial balance, delivery expense. Okay, delivery expense. Here you have delivery expense with a total amount of 15,130. It should be categorized as distribution expense. So 15,103 delivery expense. So you need to categorize delivery expense as selling and distribution expense. Okay, selling and distribution expense 15,103. 15,103. So, and then it mentioned with regard to motor vehicle depreciation. This is in part of additional information number 3. So look at additional information number 3. You will have depreciation of motor vehicle should be at 2% on cost. Okay, and remember you have to categorize it under distribution expense, selling and distribution expense. So motor vehicle here you have to provide 20%. That means double entry would be debit what? Double entry. Debit depreciation and credit accumulated depreciation. Okay, accumulated depreciation. Right. So 20%, you have to calculate 20%. 20% times the cost. How much is the cost? You have to look at the motor vehicle. The cost is 56,200. Okay, 56,200. So that should be 20% of 56,200. That should give you how much? If you take a look at the answer, it should give you how much? 115 satu delivery expense 11240 kan? 11240. Okay, I forgot to mention that the solution has given the working for every category of expense. They put up administrative expense, distribution expense, and finance expense, but they forgot to put in the cost of sales. So just add another column for cost of sales. So you can put it below here. Closing stock, cost of sales. Okay, this amount 37,100. They already prepared it, so we just use it. So double entry is depreciation for motor vehicle 11240. So this is debit what? Debit depreciation expense under. So you have to debit depreciation expense under distribution, category of distribution, distribution expense. Okay, distribution expense. So credit accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation will be in the working of property, plant, and equipment. They already give you the working for non-current asset here. You have motor vehicle. Okay, the amount given here is the accumulated depreciation. This amount is actually balance of accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation brought down plus depreciation for the year, which is yang kita provide lah, depreciation for the year ni yang kita provide tadi berapa? Yang kita provide ni 11,240. Okay, 11,240. And then accumulated depreciation brought down from trial balance. Kalau you tengok kat situ, dia tak bagi kan, dia hanya bagi net book value. This is the amount. This amount is actually net book value. So to find out how much is the accumulated depreciation, you have to deduct 56,200 with 53,550, right? That will give you your accumulated depreciation so far, right? If you do that, you will find out that your accumulated depreciation is how much? 56,200 minus 53,550. 2650. So your accumulated depreciation is actually 2650. Okay, 2650. If you add these two plus 11,240, you should get 13,890. That is the amount that should be entered into your working there. Okay, you're working here. It should be inside there. So this amount is actually 2650 plus 11,240. So you get that amount. Okay. So that means settle with depreciation of motor vehicle, which is under distribution expense. The next expenses that you have to look for is adjustment is building. Building adjustment for building. Adjustment for building. So look at adjustment for building here. It says that 4% on cost. That means how much? You have to calculate lah. Right. You have to calculate 4% times building 280. 280,000. So that means 280,000 you should get time 280 times 4%, 11,200. So the double entry here will be double entry debit depreciation expense, kan? Debit depreciation expense for building. Okay. And credit apa? Accumulated depreciation, kan? For building. So building, how you should categorize the depreciation for building? Where should you put building? Here building is put under administrative expense, administrative expense, building. Okay, building, put it under administrative expense 11,200, and then credit accumulated depreciation. So you go to the non-current asset, working building. Okay, so building here, you have to find out the accumulated depreciation first, kan? Accumulated depreciation, or you can just simply deduct net book value with apa? Your depreciation, right? So if you take a look at here, another way of doing it is you look at the building here. Okay, when you look at building here, you find out that the net book value is 245, right? Net book value is 245, so meaning that it should be 245 minus, okay, 245,000 minus 11,200. Sorry, bukan situ, sini. It should be here lah, this figure, with regard to this figure. Okay, it should be 233. Sorry, 245,500. 245,000 minus 11,200. You should get 233,800, right? And then when you get this 233,800, the figure here is actually apa ni? How much is this figure? This figure is this figure minus this figure, kan? So kalau you minus tu 233, kan? Kalau you minus 233,800, ataupun you minus 280 minus 233,800, then you get this figure lah, 46,200, right? So you get this figure. That is another way of you doing it lah. Okay, instead you boleh buat cara ni. Okay, this is accumulated depreciation plus depreciation for the year, right? Okay, so kalau kita buat cara yang kita dah buat tu, macam mana? Kalau kita nak buat cara yang kita dah buat ni, kita ambil figure accumulated depreciation, okay, kat sini building ni, accumulated depreciation ya, kita boleh cari dengan kita tolak dia punya cost, kan? Cost dia 280 minus 245,000. So you get accumulated depreciation dia lah, which is berapa? 280 minus 245. $35, kan? 35. So that means 35 plus 11,200. Okay. So here should be 35 plus 11,200. Sorry. 35 11,200, betul lah. $46,200. Okay, now let's take a look at the next item for adjustment would be depreciation of fixtures. Depreciation for fixtures and fittings, 40% on reducing balance method. So 40% on reducing balance method, which should be 40% based on net book value, kan? So net book value of furniture and fittings, if you take a look at the question, net book value, furniture and fittings, net book value is 17,900, right? So 17,900, 40%. That gives you 7,160, right? So furniture and fittings, depreciation for furniture and fittings, where do we should put in the category of as expenses? Furniture and fittings should be inside the administrative expense. Administrative expense. 7,160. 7,160 and credit accumulated depreciation. Furniture and fittings. Okay. So accumulated depreciation of furniture and fittings, kita kena calculate lah. What is accumulated furniture and fittings? We have to look at here the cost, 35,000. That means 35,000 minus 17,900, right? 35 minus 17,900, 17,100. That is the accumulated depreciation. So here 17,100 plus depreciation. How much did we calculate tadi? 7,160 kan? 7,160. 7,160. So you get 24 lah. Okay, 24,260. Okay. Okay, you just now you can enter the rest of the figure here. You get amount there lah, figure here. Get the amount. So settle with depreciation and non-current asset. Okay, depreciation of non-current asset. So we're going to look at additional information number 4 with regard to wages and salaries. 4,200 for wages and salaries, and 200 has been prepaid for rent at prepaid. This is prepayment. So you have here two things. One is wages and salaries outstanding, which is accrual, right? This is accrual. And this is prepayment. Okay. So for accrual, that means you have to pass adjustment entries. Debit apa? Debit wages and salaries. and credit accrual ataupun accrued wages and salaries, 4,200. And if you take a look at wages and salaries, where should we categorize it? Admin expense, wages and salaries. So we have wages and salaries, admin expense, 3580 ni is the product of the original amount, which is amount in your trial balance lah, 31,695. This is the amount in your trial balance. If you take a look at your trial balance for wages and salaries, okay, wages and salaries, okay, that is 31,675. 31,675 plus accrued for 4,200. So total amount you will get 35,875. This is under administrative expense. Okay, under administrative expense. Next we have prepayment, right? Prepayment for prepaid rent. So the double entry will be debit what? Debit prepayment, debit prepaid rent ataupun prepayment 200, and credit rent expense, rent expense. So you have to look at your rent expense in your trial balance, how much you have. Okay, if you take a look at rent expense, rent and rates, there you have rent and rates, 11,550 rent and rates, 11,550 plus minus 200, minus 200. So rent and rates will be under administrative. So we have originally 11,550 plus minus 200. The total value now is 11,350. This is the amount of rent and rates. Okay, and prepayment will be entered into your financial position for prepayment, and also accruals. Yang tadi accruals will be in your current liability. Accrued wages, okay, accrued wages 4,200, and prepayment will be under your prepaid rent, your current asset, prepaid rent. Okay, your current asset for prepaid rent. Now, settle additional information number 4. Settle. Additional information number 5 is regard to bad debts. Bad debts you have here to be increased to 2,900. Okay, so you have to look at bad debts in your trial balance. You have provision for doubtful debt ataupun bad debts. Okay, bad debts here you have bad debts. This is amount, 587 bad debts. So where should you put this bad debt? Which category? Bad debt. Bad debt will be put into administrative expense. Sometimes they put it in finance. Sometimes, but no. Here they put it in your in your administrative expense. But I can consider student put it in your finance expense. Okay. So bad debts here. Here they mention bad debts to be increased to 2,900. Is there any other account? Oh, sorry. You have account called provision for doubtful debt. Okay, provision for doubtful debt. Okay, so 2,400. This is what it is referring to. 2,400. You need to increase to 2,900. That means you need to increase how much? 400, right? So that means debit bad debts provision for doubtful debt ni, provision debit, provision for bad debt expense. Sama ada you start dalam bad debt expense, credit provision for doubtful debt, another 400. Tapi dalam soalan ni dia letak kat mana? Provision for doubtful debt. Dia ada kat sini increase increase. Dia letak dalam increase in provision for doubtful debt. Increase in provision for doubtful debt. Which is provision for doubtful debt 500. Oh, sorry, bukan 400 500 500. Kita kena betulkan 500 So here 500 increase to 500. So here they put increase in provision for doubtful debt here. Provision for doubtful debt 500. So debit increase in provision for doubtful debt, which is under administrative expense, and credit provision for doubtful debt. Provision for doubtful debt will be entered into financial position. Okay, if you have provision for doubtful debt now is 2,900. Okay, 2,900. Okay, which is 2,400 plus increase of 500, right? Increase of 500. Okay. Next kita ada bad debts. Bad debts, sorry, bukan bad debts. Kita ada directors. Directors transfer of 10,000 to general reserve. So transfer here involves statement of changes in equity. Transfer involves statement of changes in equity. So the double entry is for transfer is debit, retain Retained earnings 10,000 and credit general reserve 10,000. So look at in your statement of changes in equity here, statement of changes in equity. So we don't need this anymore because we already have the one prepared. Okay, so under general reserve we have 10,000 here, transfer amount from retained earnings, okay, to general reserve. Okay, debit retained earnings, credit general reserve. Okay, this amount. Okay, that's all for transfer. Next we have taxation. Taxation here is to be estimated to be 27,000 for the current year. For taxation, you have to look at what is already paid in your trial balance. Look at the trial balance for tax. Is there any tax there? Tak ada tax Kat mana? Dua page. Oh, sorry. Taxation paid kat sini taxation paid is 20,000. This is the amount that they already paid, taxation. But in the additional information, it should be 27,600, which is another 7,600 yang belum lagi provided, kan? So you need to provide another 7,600. That means you have to debit apa? Debit taxation, taxation account, credit statement of changes and statement of comprehensive income 20 bukan statement of changes, silap tu it should be here debit taxation, tax account and credit accrual of tax, which is 7,600. So tax here will be in your statement of changes in equity, income tax. Okay. Income tax expense. Okay. This amount is 20,000 plus 7,600. Right. 20,000 plus 7,600. And then the accrual will be stated in the statement of financial position, where you have tax accrued in your current liability. Okay, tax accrued in your current liability, which is 7,600. Accrual 7,600. Okay. Next kita ada that's it. That is the last adjustment. Therefore, once we have done all the adjustment, we need to do the item for in the trial balance. Item in the trial balance one by one. First, we look at audit. Right, the first item here, audit. Audit fees, kita tengok kat situ. Audit fees, kita akan masuk dalam kategori admin expense, kan? Masuk dalam admin expense. So audit fees masuk dalam admin expense 10,500. Okay. Next kita ada bad debt. Bad debt kita dah deal with kan. Bad debt ni kita akan masuk dalam kategori dia admin expense kan. Admin expense bad debt ni. Okay, and next kita ada bank interest. Okay, 2030. Bank interest akan masuk kategori apa? Bank interest. Interest ni dalam apa? Admin, selling atau finance? Finance lah. Interest kan? Finance expense. Bank interest, finance expense. Okay, next kita ada item delivery expense. Tadi kita dah deal with debenture interest. Kita masuk mana? It is also an interest kan? Debenture interest kita akan masuk dalam finance cost. So debenture interest ni dia kata situ ada berapa? 1,300 kan? For debenture you have to look at debenture. Look at debenture. Here we have debenture 10%. 10% debenture 26,000 kan? Kalau 26,000 maknanya 10% berapa? 10% times 26,000. How much interest you have to pay? 2,600 per year. Right? Per year. Sekarang ni dia dah bayar berapa? Dalam trial balance tu dia ada cakap dia bayar berapa? 1,300. Right? Tak cukup kan? Only half year saja dia bayar. Only half saja. So you have to add another 1,300. 1,300 tu accrual. Dia tak mention pun dalam additional information kan? Jadi you kena provide. So double entry-nya accrual for debenture interest, you need to provide debenture interest ni debit debenture interest 1,000, another half debenture interest ni another half, debit debenture interest yang asalnya dia ada 1,300. Okay, 1,300. $1,300 plus another 1,300 accrued. Okay, debit debenture interest here, credit accrual dalam financial position, non-current liabilities. Accrued debenture interest dia ada kat sini 1,300. Okay, 1,300 accrued debenture interest. That is that double entry. So amount charge yang ke the finance cost is 2,600. So you have to be careful for that. Sometimes they tak mention pun. Then we have director's remuneration. This will be under the administrative expense. Dalam administrative expense, director's remuneration 3,600. Next kita ada insurance. Insurance 1,009. Also administrative expense 1,009. Next kita ada purchases. Purchases akan masuk ke mana? Dalam cost of sales. So you have another purchases here, which is 268,464. So you buat kat sini lah. Opening stock purchases ni. You masuk dalam purchases. Berapa tadi? Purchases 268,464. 464. $268,464. Okay, purchases. So debit cost of sales. Okay, credit debit purchases, credit cost of sales. Purchases. Masuk purchases itu. And then opening stock. Sorry. Next item apa? Sundry expense. Sundry expense. Next item, rates kita dah settle tadi. Next item, sundry expense 8268. Ini akan masuk dalam admin expense, sundry expense, admin expense. Lagi? Is there any other? Sales. Okay. Sales akan masuk dalam statement of comprehensive income, sales. Okay. Masuk situ. And then ordinary shares, this is under statement of changes in equity. Okay. Statement of changes in equity. If you take a look at statement of changes in equity, balance brought down 120,000. Next kita ada preference share. Preference share 43,750. So masuk dalam statement of changes in equity 43,750. Fixtures and fittings dah settle tadi. Building dah settle. Bank overdraft, kita ada bank overdraft. Okay, 750. That will be on your financial position. Bank overdraft in your financial position 17,750. 17,750 in your financial position. Okay. Next kita ada account payable in your current liability. Account payable. Okay. Account payable, this amount 31,272. Account payable. Next kita ada cash in hand 370 in your financial position. Cash 370. Account receivable. Account receivable 107,810. So that would be in your financial position. Account receivable under current asset 107,810. Okay. Then stock at 1st June. This is opening stock. Opening stock will be in your cost of sales. Okay. So you put it into your cost of sale, opening stock. This amount. How much is the amount? Opening stock 20,280. 20,280. Okay. 20,280. Okay, 20,280. Closing stock. Last, we have retained profit, retained earnings. Okay, this item is under statement of changes in equity. So retained earnings, balance brought down. Balance brought down, retained earning 84,895. Okay. And then next item kita ada general reserve. 100 balance brought down under statement of changes in equity. Okay. Share premium under statement of changes in equity. Share premium 85,250. 10% debenture 26,000 under statement of financial position. Long term as liabilities or non-current liabilities, 10% debenture 26. Next we have long-term investment 130 under financial position. Okay, long-term investment, non-current asset. Okay, and then we have lastly tax. We have dealt with 20,000 tax. Okay, we have done that. So once you have done all those, then you can fill in your working and also your statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, and so on. So you can calculate now is your amount for each individual category of expenses. Expenses. So cost of sales is 251,640. You should get 251,640. 251,640. That will be in your cost of sales. Here, in your cost of sales, 251,640. Administrative expense, kita dapat kat sini lah. Total ya, 120, and 26,343 is for distribution. 26,343 distribution. Next kita ada selling and distribution. Finance 4,630 finance cost. 4,630 finance expense. Right. Then you can calculate you get net profit before tax. Okay. And less tax, you get total comprehensive income. Total comprehensive income will be entered into here, right? Your profit for the year. Okay, profit for the year under retained profit. So you get profit for the year here 374117, right? Ataupun profit after tax lah. Add to the retained profit. Then you can prepare the statement of changes in equity, get the balance here, and balance here, and then balance here. Okay, so your balance for share, ordinary shares plus preference share is 163. So that should be entered into your financial position lah. Okay, your financial position, share 163,750. Okay. Next we have reserve. Reserve ni you have to plus all. You get this amount 307,562. All the reserve you get. Okay. 307,558. 558. 558 ke 55562? Dia tersilap kat sini. Cuba kira. Dia tersilap tak? 112,312 plus 110 plus 85,250. 85,250. Patutnya sini berapa ni? 562 Okay, itu silap maksudnya. $163,750 plus 307,562. Maybe there's some mistake here. Never mind, just follow the procedure. We'll get to you later on that. Okay, now let's do the quiz. Okay, let's do the quiz. That's all for today with regard to final exam November 2014. Okay, we're going to do the quizzes now.